Well, uh, sorry about it. My internet was real slow, so I had to stop. And we're going to continue and watching the video and making some comments. Okay?
and catastrophe, because that's self-evident, and we're not going to discuss that. Although the degree to which you bring about your own tragedy is always indeterminate. But I would never say that every terrible thing that is visited on a person is something they deserved. I think that that's a very dangerous presupposition, especially because everyone gets sick and everyone dies. But one of the main reasons that people don't get what they want is because they don't actually figure out what it is. And the probability that you're going to get what would be good for you, let's say, which would even be better than what you want, right? Because you might be wrong about what you want easily, but maybe you could get what would really be good for you. Well, why don't you? Well, because you don't try.
Okay, I have to stop real quick here because it's so wise what Dr. Peterson says. Because how a lot of people do not get what they want. That's true. That's true. I believe all over the place. I mean, in all the world. However, there's a main reason from my point of view, and according to Dr. Peterson, is also because people don't get what they want because they don't know what they want. How are you supposed to hit a target if you don't know what the target is, or where the target is, or how the target looks like? I mean, there's no way in hell that you are going to hit the target. There's no way in hell that is going to happen. That's why it's really, really important to have goals that are really detailed, really sharp. And as I already said, most of the people do not want to have clear goals because they are afraid of failing. But even if it happens, okay, you get up and keep going forward. Keep aiming at it. Keep improving. That's the way to go, because if not, there's no way in hell that you are going to get that goal. You have to work for it. So if you don't have goals, how are you supposed, or if you don't know what you want in life, how are you supposed to be happy if you don't even know what makes you happy? You know? So that's why every time I talk to people, every time I talk to my friends, I tell them that they should and they must have sharp goals. And to be completely honest, just 10% or maybe less of all the people I talk to, all my friends, they have sharp and clear goals. And obviously, I mean, it's up to them if they want to have them, but obviously, I also suggest them that they should aim at something, because if not, they are just in the darkness, not knowing what the target is. And whenever something bad is going to happen to them, because it's going to happen, like everyone else's, including myself, I mean, they are going to think that, oh my god, life is so painful. Yeah, it's true, it's painful. But it's going to be even more painful if you don't have goals, if you don't have anything to hold on. Because at least if you have goals, you are going to be attached to that goal that is going to give you some kind of strength to keep moving forward to reach that goal. So that's why, guys, it's super important to have goals, really clear goals. And even if you fail, quotes, that doesn't mean that you cannot get up again and keep moving forward towards that goal. Because failing is part of the process. Okay? So let's continue.
You don't think, okay, here's what I would like if I could have it. And I don't mean in a way that you manipulate the world to force it to deliver you goods for status or something like that. That isn't what I mean. I mean something like, imagine that you were taking care of yourself like you were someone you actually cared for. And then you thought, okay, I'm caring for this person. I would like things to go as well for them as possible. What would their life have to be like in order for that to be the case? Well, people don't do that. They don't sit down and think, all right, let's figure it out. You've got a life. It's hard, obviously. It's like 3 years from now, you can have what you need. You got to be careful about it. You can't have everything. You can have what would be good for you, but you have to figure out what it is, and then you have to aim at it. Well, my experience with people has been is if they figure out what it is that would be good for them, and then they aim at it, then they get it. And it's strange because they don't it's a strange thing. It's not quite that simple because you may formulate an idea about what would be good for you, and then you take 10 steps towards that, and you find out that your formulation was a bit off, and so you have to reformulate your goal. So you're kind of going like this as you move towards the goal. But a huge part of the reason that people fail is because they don't ever set up the criteria for success. And so, since success is a very narrow line and very unlikely, the probability that you're going to stumble on it randomly is zero. And so there's a proposition here, and the proposition is, if you actually want something, you can have it. Now the question then would be, well, what do you mean by actually want? And the answer is that you reorient your life in every possible way to make the probability that that will occur as certain as possible. And that's a sacrificial idea, right? It's like, you don't get everything. Obviously. But maybe you can have what you need. And maybe all you have to do to get it is ask. But the asking isn't a whim or today's wish. It's like, you have to be deadly serious about it. You have to think, okay, like I'm taking stock of myself. And if I was going to live properly in the world and I was going to set myself up such that being would justify itself in my estimation, and I don't mean as a harsh judge, exactly what is it that I would aim at? And so the issue is not so much the blindness of others, even though there's as much blindness among others as there is for you. But the issue here, the advice here, the description here is you should be concerned about what's interfering with your own vision first. And you should leave other people the hell alone in relationship to that. And so if your mode of being in the world is, if you would just act better, things would improve for me, or if you identify the evil and the catastrophe as something that's outside, that someone else needs to fix, or that someone else is responsible for, then you're not going to fix that.
Well, you heard it. First of all, you have to take responsibility of your life. You have to take responsibility of every single action you take. Every single thing you do in life, it's on you because it's your life. And you are the only person who can do or not do something. I understand that there are a lot of moments when the odds are really not in your favor, but still, it's not an excuse. It's on you what you do with that. It's on you what path you take. It's on you. And as Dr. Peterson says, you have to aim at something. You have to, and it's related to what I said previously, that you should track everything you do. Because if you track everything you do, you are going to catch yourself every time you are doing something that is not getting you closer to your goals. You are going to catch yourself and you are going to tell yourself, okay, hold on a second, I'm not gonna do this because I'm aiming at this goal. And doing this is not helping me to get closer to this goal. So if you do that every day, every single day, and with all the actions you take, by default, your life is going to improve. By default, it's not something that oh, probably is going to improve or not. No, by default, it's going to improve. Little by little, it's going to improve 100%. And That's why it's really important to track everything you do every day. And also, there's a quote, a famous quote: "Tell me who your friends are, and I'm gonna tell you who you are." And that's also super, super important with what kind of people you relate yourself with, what kind of friends you have. If you have friends that, let's say, they love party, they love alcohol, and you don't, but you all hang with them because you want to fit in, or maybe you feel kind of lonely. I mean, eventually it's gonna affect you, whether you like it or not, and it's true. It happened to me. That's why I personally, I'm really careful with what kind of people I surround myself with, even though sometimes it's really hard. It's really hard to find people that want to improve, want to grow in the world, want to help people. It's really hard. I'm not gonna lie, but not because of that I'm gonna go party or do drugs or drink alcohol in order to be surrounded with people, because that doesn't take me anywhere. That's not meaningful at all. So let's continue.
And you're going to remain blind to the things that you're doing and not doing that make things not go well. And so it's just better to think, all right, I'm probably blind in many, many ways. And maybe there are some ways that I could rectify that, because it's highly probable that you're blind in all sorts of ways. I mean, it's in fact, it's virtually certain. And so it's just more useful to think, how is it that I'm wrong in this situation? I'll tell you something that I learned to do when I was arguing with my wife, which happened quite frequently, because when you actually communicate with people, you find out that there's many things that you don't agree on. And that's because you're actually different creatures. And so if you're actually going to have a truthful conversation, then you're going to find out that you don't see things the same way. And then you can either pretend that that's not the case and gloss over it and then end up in a 30-year silent war, or you can have the damn fight when you need to have it and see if you can straighten it out.